both. Well, let's get kicked off with the emergency alert test that took place yesterday to absolutely no fanfare and most people not even noticing. Brian, I should say, was extremely disappointed that his phone did not go off at 3 p.m., even though we were doing the alternative view event yesterday, because his phone is too old to support it. So he didn't have to switch anything off. But nonetheless, the timing of this was very interesting because the Defence Science and Technology Laboratory, DSTL, has been testing sensors which potentially plug into the emergency alert system across the UK. Let's just have a look at a little bit of video.
The trial is a deployment of the Sigma Plus sensors that comprise the technology suite for detecting chemical, biological, and radiological threats in urban environments.
The US program has been developing a range of sensors to try and detect materials in the air which indicate that a threat material is being made or a threat material is being used.
The deployment is involving multiple locations within the London city area, and the purpose of the trial is to understand performance of our network sensors in a different country than the US. That's a really big challenge in some respects, as well as to kind of understand the background characteristics of chemical and biological species.
So the ultimate goal is to develop the sensors and the alarm technology in order to provide protection for a UK city. And also to enable us to protect high-value assets, so things like major sporting events.
My job for most of my DSTL life is actually in a very early stage research programme. It's super exciting, but is not ready to go into the hands of a user and be functional out in the real world. So for me, to see something that we've seen at a really early stage, decided has potential, and has come all the way through into applied programmes and into a contractor that's actually going to build a product that works, it's just what it's all about.
So, David, the timing of this, quite incredible. What are your thoughts?
The timing's incredible, but also I foresee unforeseen consequences. For example, we're going to hook up an entire city to detect what exactly? Which chemicals? Because there are a great many chemicals which are potentially threatening. Which ones are we testing for? I don't know that there's any explanation as to what the answer to that one is. And then what about false positives? What about the chances of the alarm going off when it doesn't? We all have burglar alarms that have gone off, car alarms. I don't think this one will be necessarily all that different. What if it goes off? You know, we're talking about events that have never happened. So the chances are that there'll be a high proportion of false alarms to actual alarms, given the fact that we shouldn't really be expecting any actual alarms. I think this is something that might be generating a lot of fear and not a lot of safety.
That indeed is, I couldn't agree more with that statement. So anyway, if anybody was in any way disturbed by the alert system test yesterday, this is what's coming. Just be prepared for it. This isn't about adding to the fear, of course. It's about letting you know that that's being prepared and planned for, and well, you can make a decision about how fearful you might want to be over it. In the meantime,